Crumbly Woods requires 1,200 guests in 3 years, but with 600 already in place, the guest count shouldn't prove the biggest issue in this park. Overcoming the first problem is what will see you to glory in Crumbly Woods. The rides are all old, 12 or 13 years old, and therefore struggle to attract good ride fees. There are a few choices here. Demolish them all and receive around 21,000 into the bank, but you'll be left with 600 guests and no rides, so you'll need to rebuild quickly. Or you could leave the rides as they are, optimise their revenue as best possible while building newer rides with the 15,000 loan available, and the profits from the existing rides. I opted for something in the middle, but first I did my due diligence and inspected the rides before making my decision. First up, the biggest coaster in the park, Double Trouble, a large wooden coaster with synchronised stations. It's only charging £2.50 for an entry fee, so straight away I added an on-ride photo section to boost the revenue. Crazy Critters was more of an issue though. It has a long wait time and guests want to get off. I'll be back shortly to demolish this one. Crumbly Carousel was an easy decision and paved the way for what I would do with the other static rides. Delete them and replace them with brand new rides of the same type. Quick, easy, and I can now get a full entry fee for the merry-go-round, and I'll do the same with the Ferris wheel shortly. The same would apply with the Haunted House, but first I wanted to reposition the queue path so it wasn't taking too much space at the top of this hill. Whiplash is a powered launch corkscrew coaster, and like the wooden coaster could benefit from an on-ride photo section and a longer station to improve guest throughput from 16 guests per ride to 28 guests. Next, Mean Squeak, a wooden wild mouse, where a longer station will also be of benefit. Having checked out the rides, I did the same with the food and drink outlets. These rides aren't going to generate me premium income, so the food and drink can't be priced too cheaply. Now some trial and error with ride entry fees. The prices suggested by online ride price calculators don't seem to apply in this park. Guests think they are too expensive, so I'll need to figure it out myself by increasing the price until guests complain it is too high, and then slowly reducing the price until I hit a figure guests don't complain about. For Double Trouble, that worked out at £5.20, for Whiplash it was £3. Not great for these rides, but they already exist, attract guests and can generate revenue and keep guests happy while I build other rides. Back to Crazy Critters. It's too long, so I could cut it in half to reduce the ride time and queue time, but I think this one just needs scrapping. I got around £2,500 for that, but I'll keep the scenery for now and look to build 2 new rides in this area, a log flume and a shorter car ride. First up, a Cheshire Cats ride using the giant candy and hedges already in place from Crazy Critters as scenery. After that I add a twist and then back to where Crazy Critters stood to add the log flume. This time I will use the castle and chessboard scenery along with some underground sections to generate excitement. Once it was completed and tested, I had an excitement rating of 6.19. Given that what is already in place is all well over 12 years old, this park is crying out for a new roller coaster. There is a nice area of land up near the park entrance, so I'll be able to use this for a looping coaster. I'll add a couple of inversions and we'll keep the ride within this space. Track twisting around itself will add to the excitement rating, and it will keep costs down and save on space. Plus, I'll be able to open up pretty quickly and finally have a big ticket ride in this park. The other coasters don't earn enough money on their own. So, construction complete, let's see how it rides. Almost identical high stats for excitement and intensity, this ride is ready for some guests. After a productive year one, I haven't added a huge amount to my guest total. That looping coaster will help, but I'll need a couple more big coasters yet. Next up though, Motion Simulator is now available, so I'll get one of those in. An indoor ride is a big plus point in a fairly rainy park. Sticking with the thrill rides theme, I can add go-karts to weave around that looping coaster, which will help boost the excitement rating of both rides. I always go for longer one-lap go-karts as I want the maximum 21 cars, so I need a long station anyway, and too many laps would reduce the throughput. After the first ride, we can see the impact of being close to the looping coaster, with an excitement rate of over 5. A pirate ship is added next, and a second motion simulator to show the other available film. Continuing the theme of adding as many new rides as possible, an observation tower is built. That helped my guest numbers climb while I got to work on another new coaster, this time a stand-up twister coaster. There's a lot of space at the back of the park for a bigger ride, and I'm not too worried about finances. We start with a high station and have an underground section too. Here's the test ride. This one comes in with over 7 excitement, so let's get it open. My guest count is now looking much healthier, and I know that stand-up twist-up coaster will attract plenty more guests too. That helps the issue I'm having as Double Trouble gets even older and needs to be even cheaper to ride, down to just £1.40 a go now. I could delete it and replace it with something new, but I don't need to, and it is a great ride. Whiplash was giving me some grief though, so I did something I actually should have done at the very start, deleted it and rebuilt it from scratch, allowing me to charge a much higher entry fee, although this time I did give it a different design. I had also added a vertical drop coaster at the start of year 3. I didn't record the construction, but here is the result. There was also a junior coaster added in the back corner. Here's that one. After those builds, I added a chairlift to help guests get from front to back, a newly researched dodgems ride, and my final build was these river rapids, rated just over 4 for excitement. I did also add a 3D cinema, but otherwise that was me done with Crumbly Woods.